focus and let's interact with Rajashree Murkute, the Senior Director at CareEdge Ratings, who is joining us on the show to talk about everything that's been happening in the infra space. And Rajashree, hi, morning. Thanks for your time. First up, let's talk about the tendering activity slowdown that we've seen in the highway sector. Help us understand what is at play here, what are some key reasons, and do you see tendering picking up in the second half as monsoons recede and, of course, ahead of the union budget?
Great. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me in the show. So a couple of questions I hear, you're speaking about the tendering activity, which has come out pretty low in the first half. Now, two things which come to mind is, typically in the first half, we would have noticed on a year-on-year basis, the tendering activity is relatively low because in the month of Feb, the union budget comes out with its fund allocation. Then you have clearances and planning, which take some time to shape up, and that's how most of the tendering activity is backloaded, or it's more in the H2. So that's more of a traditional behavior that we've seen in this sector. But what comes interestingly for this particular year is also that, besides the delays in the regular approvals which have come through, Morth, after it had announced the revised bidding norms, what we've seen is it is making way for more stronger players to come through and bid for projects so that the aggressiveness and the competitive intensity kind of is addressed. That to an extent has added to a lower number of eligible players to participate in the bid. So that's an additional factor that we see this year, which has kind of impacted the tendering activity so far as we speak in H1. Then we move on to H2, as you were asking. So yes, we do believe that the tendering activity will pick up in the second half, which is pretty much in line with the previous years. And more so, it's about, a 30-70% kind of a ratio. So 30% is what generally is bid out in the first half, and it builds up through the second half of the fiscal. And that is a similar trend that we expect should happen. Needless to say, there's already about a pipeline of more than 124, 125 projects which have been identified by the authority. So that definitely gives a big room and big potential that the awards will definitely come through in the second half of this fiscal. So we are quite positive about the awarding activity in the second half.
So Rajashree, how has the introduction of the additional performance security or APS impacted the bidder participation?
If we look at the previous segments, the previous fiscals, what has happened is initially the authority did want more participation of players and kind of expand the road construction. Eventually, it has also led into an extremely aggressive bidding, be it from a median bid, which is close to about 25 to 40% below the cost of the NHI cost. So that has led to a lot of aggression in the sector and also the quality. What we clearly see is this additional performance security in a way is going to nudge the better players to remain intact in this whole scheme of things, and will try to dilute and weed away some of the non-serious players in the sector. But at the same time, it's not going to make a big dent in the players, the stronger players with pretty much very strong financial resourcefulness and balance sheets to bid for projects. This additional performance security is not going to move the needle much. They are already sitting on a very good, balance sheets, and their utilizations of their non-fund based limits also is not very high. So we don't see that going to be a negative impact for the players with stronger resourcefulness.
Along with that, Rajashree, despite the slowdown, the toll road traffic is expected to grow at 7% and post the big push on the GST reset for autos. Let's see how the numbers pan out to be. But what is driving this divergence between the execution pace and the traffic growth?
The execution pace largely is a multifold factor. I mean, there have been a perennial problem of, the approvals not coming through, the land acquisition issues, they have always been holding back the execution to a certain pace. Needless to say, from last year to now, what we have also seen is the declaration of appointed dates for the HAM projects which were announced last year. That also faced delay. So net-net, the executionable period for those particular projects has actually shrunk quite a bit. And in our estimate, actually this year also, because the pipeline of the previous years is not very high, we expect that all the delays in approvals plus a lower pipeline is going to kind of moderate the construction pace to about 7 to 10% lower than the previous year. That's our estimate for FY26. Toll growths have definitely been going pretty strong. There has been a lot of traffic movement in and around the logistic-led growth which has happened. Coal mining volumes have actually ramped up significantly. And so we've actually seen the cannibalization of some of the new corridors is not something which has eaten into the traffic growth. Our estimate also is for this year, supported with inflation and the robust traffic volumes, which are having in one of the most prominent corridors, it will be about, ballpark 7 to 9% kind of a toll growth for FY26.
Okay, so that's the take on that front. Let's talk about the FASTag. Rajashree, since annual FASTag pass has been implemented, what is your assessment? How will this what could the impact be on toll companies now that this is an annual pass?
See, this FASTag is, we've done actually a study, and what we have realized is actually for corridors which have more of a passenger vehicle dominated stretches. That is the corridors which are likely to have a bit of impact, an immediate impact. But at the same time, there are this is going to be considered as a change in law. So overall, from the companies which are operating toll road systems, they are definitely going to have a bit of a compensation and a reimbursement mechanism which is being worked out, and that will be adequately compensated. Timing is definitely one aspect which we were all looking at. But FASTag definitely is not something that has been a dampener. In fact, it has helped in actually attracting more of global investors who are wanting to bet high on the highway sector in terms of the InvIT platforms or through direct acquisition of portfolios. We think it has come up as a very big enabler and also adding to more transparency even at the state road levels.
Okay, Rajashree, great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time today on ET Now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's take a very quick break. When we come back, we're going to be chatting with the management of Supreme Industries.